Hello beautiful creatures, welcome back to Of Crafts and Curios. I am jumping in here while editing to let you guys know I did lose a bunch of footage from the beginning of this video, unfortunately, where I was applying temporary tattoos to a doll to create my own really goth, vampy take on the Draculaura character from Monster High. While I was away in the US, I received my Draculaura vampire heart doll and I was just so excited and inspired by Monster High actually leaning into the goth aesthetic. I thought, what would it look like if OCC created Draculaura? So being inspired by this doll and her G3 iterations, I sat down and started making a very alternative, very gothic Draculaura from the world of OCC. So sadly I did lose the footage of me applying these temporary tattoos, but if you guys do want to see that again, I'm sure I'm going to do it in another doll as it was so much fun, but I can also put a dedicated tutorial up if you guys want that. And of course, I am sick again, so my voice might sound a little bit different than usual, so bear with me on that one. So for my own take on Draculaura, I'm starting with a G3 body because I personally love curvy Draculaura, she's amazing, and a G1 face sculpt because I prefer the G1 non-smiling face sculpt. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a partial reroute with this really light baby pink from Custom Doll Hair AU and black wefted hair, as these are Draculaura's traditional colors, and I really like the lighter pink tones for her color scheme rather than those deep magentas. And a partial reroute just means that I'm going to do the hairline and the parting, and then the rest will be filled in with wefted hair. This pink does translate a bit closer to white than I wanted, but I think that's okay. It's still a vibe, it's still super vampy and goth. So tucking away the hair in some scrap plastic, I can begin her face up. We're obviously going to be leaning into a really goth aesthetic, as I think Draculaura is the gothest of the Monster High community. I of course included Draculaura's little love heart and gave her the split brow rather than the split dye hair. And in place of fangs, I decided to go ahead and give her two little mouth piercings in the place where fangs would be. After all, this is my take on Draculaura's character, so it is going to be really goth and really alternative fashioned. Moving on to her outfit and accessories, I really appreciate that the new Draculaura, Gen 3 Draculaura, has a big wide brim hat. I think that is kind of really camp way to be a vampire with like a really giant brimmed hat. So I am going to go ahead and give my Draculaura a huge black brimmed hat using felt, which I've never done before, so it was a bit of a trial and error learning. I'm using a thicker felt and a more flimsy felt, thick for the brim and soft for the bucket of the hat. And I'm using this candle as my base for the hat's brim because it's really large and it gives me a nice perfect circle. Then I'm using the more flimsy felt and I just cut a random length, and I'm going to use my Draculaura as my mannequin because you want to make sure you size your hat while the doll has hair, else it's not going to fit. So I'm just marking and making a little bit of seam allowance, and then I'm going to cut it down to size and basically just glue it together. Now using the bucket of the hat, I'm going to trace around its circumference, and I'm going to go ahead and cut that out so that it can nicely slip into the brim, and then I'll reinforce that with glue. And then using the part that came out of the brim, I can use that to be the top of the hat as it's the same circumference. Things were going well, but then they got really gluey, so I'm just gonna go paint over the glue excess with black paint, and that will hide any messy glue parts. Personally, I love the drama of a hat that is tied on, so I played around with some lace to figure out how I could tie this hat on to Draculaura. I decided threading the lace through the brim was going to be the most effective, and here she is with her cute little wide brim hat. I personally really love the silhouette of a hat on a doll. I think it's so cute and silly, so I really do like the Draculaura dolls that come with hats. I think they're so fun, so I'm really glad to give my Draculaura one. And I did, of course, gloss her lips and eyes with gloss Mod Podge. This is the best varnish in my opinion for doll scale. It just doesn't fade or wear over time, so I went ahead and did that. Now, moving on to her outfit, I pulled all my black and white fabrics out so that I could really see what I wanted to do. And I knew I was inspired by the Vampire Heart doll, so I did want to do a little lace bodysuit, but I wanted to bring in some more kind of modern flair while still paying homage to the Victorian vampire vibe that the Draculaura Heart doll has, but still make it modern and sort of Southern Gothic Lolita. And as always, we're hand sewing this little outfit together. I am so obsessed with her little one piece. I love how the tattoos are still able to peek through from the lace. Now it's on to the construction of the dress, which is a corset with a really big puffy split skirt to kind of channel that Lolita, Southern Gothic, Victorian elements that I want to bring to the outfit. And I know I keep referring to the Southern Gothic without defining it, so the Southern Gothic is ultimately a subgenre of Gothic literature. It can also be known as Gothic Americana or Dark Country, and it is a set of aesthetics that relate to the grotesque, the macabre, and the fantastical that kind of happens and is steeped in American folklore. So that's why a lot of vampire novels and fiction come out of those southern states, such as Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice or True Blood, that TV show. Yeah, so the Southern Gothic and vampires kind of lend themselves to each other. If you'd like to learn more about the Gothic subculture and Gothic literature and how it overlaps, you can pick up my For the Girls, the Goth, the Gay zines over on my Etsy, where I do a big deep dive into Goth aesthetics and Gothic literature and all that good stuff. Anyway, back to the dressmaking. We have made the corset bodice, and now I am making a split skirt, which involves 3 pieces of fabric, one of the full circumference of the circle skirt, which is the white fabric in this instance, and then 2 halves of a split skirt. Mine are black and pink, obviously. And then I'm just going to go attach them together and then attach them to the bodice. For my Draculaura design, I wanted to leave a lot of pink out of the main body of the design because her body is pink. So I really leaned into black and white as part of her color scheme, and then added pink where I thought highlights or little additional accessories needed to be. I picked up these tiny doll scale buttons on AliExpress. If I can find the listing, I'll link it down below. But they are the perfect pink for my Draculaura design, so I went ahead and added that to the bodice of her dress. And then using these G3 Draculaura like Demonia-esque boots, I am going to go ahead and paint them black and silver, because what's a goth girl without a set of chunky, buckly Demonia platforms? Originally, I had intended for this doll to have a long trench coat or like full-length velvet coat, but with the fullness of the skirt, it didn't really work with the design, so I had to rethink how I wanted to incorporate a velvet element, and so I went ahead and made a little capelet because this really fit with the silhouette and kind of leaned into the vampires having capes vibe as well. No goth doll is complete without a choker, so I went ahead and added a little nail art jewelry piece to a piece of ribbon and made a choker, and then I filled in the silverware on her little boots. And with that, my little take on the Draculaura doll character and aesthetic is complete. I present to you Draculaura by OCC. I had so much fun creating this doll and really leaning into my knowledge and love for the gothic aesthetics and the southern gothic and all these elements that make vampires and goth go together. So I had so much fun channeling that and bringing to life a really goth Monster High character. And hopefully you enjoyed my take on the Draculaura character. If you did, hit that like button. If you are new here, hello, welcome to Crafts and Curios. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that subscribe button. Check me out over on Instagram, TikTok, Etsy, all the things that are linked down below. If I can get over this cold, hopefully next week we will have some new dolls on Etsy, some new products on Etsy, and also a Christmas video because December starts next week, which is so crazy to think about. I've been getting so many questions about my astrology series. Please hold on tight. I am working on the next installment of this series. It's been a long time coming, I know, but I'll talk more about that in the video. And yeah, just lots happening behind the scenes. I hope you guys are well. I hope you're having a great day, had a great October, having a great weekend if you're seeing family, if you're in the US and celebrating Thanksgiving weekend. And yeah, just wherever you are, I hope you're having a good one. So I'll see you guys back here so soon with more crafts and more curios as always.